Today I decided to train outside. It was a relatively nice day compared to all the other days. The sun was out, nice and shining. It was a bit warmer than the past couple of days, and it was very nice. I haven't been able to train outside in a while, but that's not the point of this video. A couple days ago, I got a comment asking about how long have I been training and advice on like tips when it comes to form for push-ups and whatnot. So I've been training for about 2.5 years. I started training summer of 2021. I was 17. No, yes, I was 17 at the time. So and then the other part of his question was his shoulder keeps getting like jacked up, beat with doing push-ups, and he always has to try and focus on his form. Now, usually when it comes to that type of shoulder pain, when it comes to push-ups, it's not usually on your form. Yes, your form can cause your shoulders to degrade, so it's best to have a 45-degree angle form when it comes from your shoulder to your elbow. So you want your shoulder and elbow to be like in a 45-degree angle for both arms. That way you're not flared out, or that way you're not super close, which can affect your shoulder joints. But another thing is how well and how effectively you're working your back muscles. So the rear delt really does support the front shoulders. When you're doing a lot of like push-ups and when you're doing dips and stuff like that, just pushing movements in general. Same thing with your traps. So if you are doing things like face pulls, that is a great way to better the health of your shoulders. Specifically your rotator cuff. Usually, like when people do bench press or push-ups, they have that shoulder pain. It's because their rotator cuff isn't strengthened and well supported by the other surrounding muscles, because some people focus so much on just like pushing muscles and stuff like that that they forget to work their back muscles. So, simply to work your back muscles is to get better at pull-ups, get really good at inverted rows, and try and do face pulls here and there. And then to warm up, you can take a resistance band if you have a resistance band, or you can take like a light dumbbell and start doing like external rotations for your shoulders to kind of just get blood flowing there. That way, the shoulder girdle can be like well supported and everything and well warmed up. So another comment I got was, where can I get the equipment from? So basically just asking about where this person can find all of the equipment that I got. So most of my equipment has come from Amazon, basically. And then some of that stuff is like furniture. Of course, if you look in the videos, that little bench press thing that I have in like the corner of my gym, that's something that was given to my father like years ago when we first moved into our house. But everything else, Amazon. So my power rack pull-up bar, Amazon. My Swiss bars, my Swiss neutral bars, Amazon. My gymnastic rings, Amazon. Parallettes, dip bars, Amazon. My squat platforms, Amazon. Just about everything was on Amazon. You can search all this stuff up and just like, Amazon. The most specific thing is that you might have to look for is like the Kinsui neutral bars. That's the name of the company. And again, Amazon. Most of everything was just Amazon. But I would say, especially if you're beginning in calisthenics, like a lot of the stuff that I got, you don't even need. Even the fat grips that I got, some of this stuff is like, I'm thinking like, I wish I could kind of just, I don't know, forego all of that stuff and just stick to almost like just a bar and like dip bars. Because I believe like the simpler things are, the less complicated things become, and the easier it is to stick to these things. So, if you're a person just starting out, literally just the first piece of equipment you should buy is like a pull-up bar. And that's maybe after you've stayed consistent to just doing like sit-ups, squats, and push-ups, because you can do those three movements with like literally no equipment, whatsoever. Sit-ups, squats, and push-ups. You don't even have to do sit-ups. You can just do squats and push-ups. And then the only piece of equipment to honestly really invest in would be a pull-up bar, right? And that's just kind of like just for your own general like health and just exercise and whatnot. But if you want to take things further and you want to be able to do a lot more variations, then of course you might want to invest in gymnastic rings, and you might want to invest in parallettes and dip bars. But those are like the only extra two pieces of equipment I would recommend buying for calisthenics, right? I already kind of made a video on what I think of like what type of equipment you should get, and it basically hasn't changed. The most bare bones things you can get is a pull-up bar, and like that be it for like the rest of your life. But if you want to have access to more exercises, then it would be a pull-up bar, dip bars, and parallettes. And then if you want even more access to stuff, then gymnastic rings, because with gymnastic rings, you can kind of completely change up the way you do just your basic exercises, right? Maybe you don't even need to have the parallettes and the dip bars, because you can have gymnastic rings act as, both of those things. But again, if you're a beginner and you don't even have enough strength to do like 20 push-ups, then I wouldn't recommend getting rings yet. I would wait, because it's like you don't want to try and mess yourself up because you're not stable enough on the rings or whatever. So you really just want to be more consistent when it comes to the bar and when it comes to the floor. Now, the person leaving this comment, they might not be a beginner in calisthenics. They might have, been training for a year. I'm not sure. But I feel like most people that might watch my videos, or a good amount of people that are probably asking questions in the comments, are people that are relatively new to the experience of just calisthenics or just training in general. So I just want to make sure that I kind of give this general advice that I feel like anybody could follow. So therefore, like, no one is like jumping into something that they need a year of experience or 2 years of experience to do. Because I do feel like, especially with pushing movements, gymnastic rings may not be for a beginner. Now you can work your way up to it, but it might take longer as a beginner. But if you're someone who's experienced already for like, I'd say maybe 5 months or so in calisthenics, because that's about when I got my gymnastic rings. I got mine at around January of 2022. And I fell in love with the piece of equipment. Sure, I don't use it as much now, but I remember back then it was very exciting doing a bunch of like different stuff on it. But I got a little carried away there, but yeah. So, again, so just to go back over some stuff, when you are doing push-ups or pushing exercises in general, and you're having just that shoulder pain, you have to make sure you work like your back side, right? You have to make sure you do rows that will help grow the back of your shoulder and your traps. You have to make sure you try and execute your pull-ups to some type of form to where it's almost as if you're doing a horizontal movement. You have to do like some like shoulder rotation exercises like face pulls. Face pulls are like probably the number one exercise you can do just to help with that issue. I do face pulls and band pull-up bars like every day when I am warming up for my workouts. And it really helps kind of like stabilize my shoulders and help my shoulders from, succumbing to pain and injury whilst I'm working out. Because if I'm working out every day and then I injure myself, what would have been the point, right? So I have to make sure I take those precautions. And then to summarize the other comment, again, just get the most basic, necessities like a pull-up bar. And then if you want to have more variety and extra stuff, you can get gymnastic rings, dip bars, and parallettes. And that's about all you need, right? You can get a weighted vest if you want, just to add extra resistance. But all those other things that I mentioned, those are like honestly all you need. And again, like I've said this a million times, but that's why I think calisthenics is so beautiful, just because of its simplicity.